Okay, so guys, we're going to start now with the day 5 program, which is all about SAS macro. So what I'll do here, I'm going to start this macro project class with you guys. Before starting this, I'll be getting into my SAS environment, which is for day 5. I have to create a 4 folder for this class here. I'll be creating the first folder name is called A1 dot underscore raw data. Then I move to the next one, which is all about A2 dot SAS code. Then I'll moving for A3, which is SAS dataset. Then the last folder which I want to create. Can anyone tell me what is the last folder name, guys? Everyone?
Output.
A4 dot SAS underscore output. Okay. So this is what the folder structure we're going to start working the SAS environment. What will I do now, guys? Here first in the raw data, I want to go for going to upload a file. So let me show you this file. What file I want to read it here. Going for day 5, if I go for data, I see there is a folder called made underscore all dot xlsx. I go for reading this data now. Okay. So what is going to happen inside this? I have this made underscore all. Now let me go and open made underscore all file for you guys. When I open this file, what is happening here? I can see in this particular file, there are 4 tabs, 4 sheets of information. The first sheet is talking about Apollo. Second sheet is talking about Cipula. Third sheet is talking about Geno. Fourth sheet is talking about Religare. Now you have been asked, go and import this data, made Apollo, made Cipula, made Geno, made Religare, and create 4 data sets from this. It's a very generic question has been asked to you. What will you do first? You will be going for your SAS environment, which you have gone already. You go to the query code, you go for creating a new code here. The moment you create this new code, you will be saving this code. And where do you want to save this code, guys? Where do you want to save this code? I want to save this code to my day 5 into the SAS code. In this folder, I want to keep it as day 5 code. What I call this, guys, here? Day 5 SAS code, right? So this is how I saved my day 5 SAS code. When I save this, I will create first what? Live name with the name of what? Day 5. What path I will give it to? My dataset folder path. I want to give it to here. Does it make sense? Everyone, I created my first library. There's a rule. Now, what will you do now? You will go for importing the data from where? Made all. What table you want to import? Apollo, Cipla, Geno, Religare. 4 tables you want to import. Now, let's read the Excel file with 4 tabs. Right? What are the tabs? Your Apollo, Cipla, Geno, and you have Religare, right? Right. So you are given this is something the task which you want to do it. What you'll do here, you write options valid var name is equal to v7. You write what? Proc import out is equal to day 5 dot made underscore Apollo. What do you write here? Data file. What file path you want to give it here? You will go to properties, copy this file path. Yes or no? Copy this file path. Then you will be giving us what? DBMS is equal to XLSX. You replace. Yeah, I will change it. Right? Sheet name would be what? Apollo. Now I will run this program to get my dataset for made Apollo. Same thing I repeat for how many times? I write this 4 times, right? What will I change here in this program? This is going for Cipla. And what will I change here to? Cipla. What will I change here? Geno. And what will change here to? Geno, right? Now, you will go for Religare. And what will you do here? Religare. You know what, guys? I select this all. I run the program and I'm happy. I can see made Apollo is created, made Cipla is created, made Geno is created, and made Religare is created. Right? So if I really look forward to have what is getting changed, right? We wrote how many lines of program? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 into 4 jar 24. We wrote 24 lines of code for importing datasets. Yes or no? Imagine I have 9 companies. How many lines of code I'll write now? 9 into 4. So 9 into 6, which is 54. Yes or no? So we wrote 24 lines of code for importing data sets. In this, what is dynamic in nature? What is dynamic in nature? Tell me. First one, data set name. Second one, sheet name. What is static in nature? What was the static in nature? File path. Yes or no? Yes or no? This is something which is static. Now, question is coming, can we automate this process? This is the question is coming, can we automate this process? What do you say? Answer yes, we can. So when you say we can, how will you do this? First of all, I will define percentage late file underscore path. I know my file path will never change. Will it change, everyone? No. If we keep your file path like this, right? Then you create percentage macro all dataset. I give it here. Let's say I want to call this as tab name is equal to, I give this as my macro name, percentage MEND means macro end. In between, I write this program. What I do this guys here, I write this program in between. First of all, to give this file path, I will not use this file path. I will call this ampersand. This is the file path name. Is this clear? Inside this, I want to go for calling the tab name, which is going to be ampersand tab name dot. Here, I'll also call my ampersand tab name dot. Now, what I'll do here, I'll show you what is happening. Let me run this program. It is not throwing any error. How will I call my program now? I will just call my macro name. In the tab name here, I will use called Apollo. Is this clear now, guys? Okay. So ultimately, what I want to do here, I don't want to get this into my, I want to create this into work library. I did not give any reference to what my libraries. I just want to keep it in work library. Now, when I run this program, what is happening? It is created made Apollo. Yes or no? What I'll do here, I'll just copy this. I'll paste it multiple times. This time I will call Cipla. This time I'll call this Geno. This time I'll call this Religare. Now, if I run this program, all of them create a data set. I got Cipla data, I got Geno data, I got Religare data. This is the macro program. What is this macro program is doing? If I want to explain macro program. If I want to explain this macro program, first of all, this program defining a macro variable called file path. Yes or no? Right? Then we use percentage late statement to create a global macro variable. What is global macro variable? Now this path you can call in any other program also. Okay. What is happened to this when you wrote this program, right? In this macro program starts with percentage macro, macro name, then variable parameters. Is this clear? What is happening guys here? Percentage macro, macro name, variable parameters, then semicolon. Then in between, then we would use percentage MEND for macro n. ठीक है? We call the macro using percentage, then macro name and semicolon. Is this clear now? In between percentage macro and percentage MEND, we write complete SAS program needs to be automated. Is this clear? ठीक है ना? Now, did you understand the purpose of macro? What is the purpose of SAS macro programming? If I ask you this question, how would you answer this question now? How do you answer this question? SAS macro avoid redundancy in the programming. Yes or no? Correct. Let's start with macro programming step by step to understand the practicality. Shall we start now the class, everyone? Right. Now, as per the content, we have to start doing this way, right? So now let me go and do this. I'll explain one after another. Let me see in the previous batch if I have done anything which I missed here. No. Okay. First of all, how does macro by example? Okay. I'll give macro by example. If you go to the libraries, right? In this library, there is SAS help. SAS help is there is a library, which is called permanent library, which is inbuilt in the SAS software. We expand this. There are so many data sets are there. Data set like class is there. Can you see this? If you double click, you can see name, sex, age, height, weight is given. Cars is there, which is given car, models, type, origin, detail, drive train, MSRP invoice. So many informations are given about this data set. One is cars, one is class. Now, what will I do here? I write a program. I write proc print data is equal to SAS help dot class. Right? Now, SAS help dot car. If I run this program, you get the output is coming like this. If I get this program, you see SAS help dot car is not there. We saw this cars. Let's see. Oh, yes, it is cars. Is this clear now? These two data sets which I'm printing. Now, you know what I'll do? I'll write percentage macro, call this macro name as print one, right? Then percentage MEND macro end, and I put this. Correct? Understood now, guys? Everyone. Then I create percentage macro, macro name print two. Then I write this. And percentage MEND. Right? So how many macros I created now? If I run this program, right? What I see here, there is no error. That means I have created two macros. How will I call the macro? Percentage macro name print one. Then I write what? Percentage print two. Is this clear now? To call the macro. So if I run this program, what is printing here? SAS help.class. What is printing here? If I say print two, SAS help.cars. Yes or no? Everyone.
Yes.
Happening? Okay. Now we understand SAS macro programming starts with percentage macro, macro name, semicolon. Yes or no? Ends with percentage MEND and semicolon. Yes or no? To call SAS macro, we write percentage macro name. semicolon. Is this clear to all of you guys, everyone? Is this clear now?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, how to define the SAS macro variable? I'll give some example to you guys. How to define SAS macro variables. Going back to this folder, day 5, I go to this, I say upload a file. I choose the file called made a3.made2025.xlsx file. I just simply uploaded an Excel file, which is this file. Let me go and open this Excel file for you. Okay. What you see in this Excel file, there's a tab name called made_2025. And what is the file extension is given? a3.made2025.xlsx. If I want to read this data, right? How will I go for reading this data? First of all, I define percentage late, okay? File underscore path equal to the file path. Right click, properties, and I copy this entire path. So I define my macro variable name, which is called percentage late. Macro variable name is coming as file path. Okay. Percentage late tab underscore name is equal to what is the tab name was made underscore 2025. Right. If I want to read the data, what I write here? Options valid var name is equal to v7. We write proc import out is equal to day 5 dot made underscore 2025. Clear? Then I go for here data file where I want to call this macro path. How will I call the macro variable here? I write ampersand this and dot. Is this clear? Then I'll write dbms is equal to xlsx. Replace. Now sheet. I want to give the sheet name as what? Ampersand the variable name, which is then dot semicolon, and I will say run the program. Is this clear to all of you guys? If I run this data, is it going to get me the output? It is. It is getting me the output here. Yes or no? Right. First of all, guys, in this above program, we created two macro variables using percentage late statement. Yes or no? What are those? Number one, file path. Second one is what? Tab name. Does it make sense to all of you guys, everyone? Yes or no? Right? Now, I want to go for creating a data set called data made underscore select. Set day 5 dot made underscore 2025. Is this data set exist? Everyone? It is exist now. Right? Keep customer underscore ID, company, gender, age, state underscore code. Are you there, guys? Everyone? Right. State code. I write town, number of trips, spent underscore amount. Right. I write here where company equals to Apollo and gender equals to female and age equals to age greater than 50 and state underscore code is equal to, let's say, NSW. Then I write the condition to create data set. Is this going to create the data set or not? It is, right? The same code I created here, percentage late comp is equal to Apollo. Percentage late Jane is equal to female. Percentage late AG equals to 60, 50. percentage late stcd state code is equal to nsw. I created how many macro variables? 4. When I call this macro variable, which is character, I will calling them as what? Double quote ampersand comp dot. What will I call this here? Ampersand gen dot. What I want to call this here? Ampersand az dot. What I call this here, guys? Ampersand. Does it make sense to all of you guys? If I run this program, I get my output, which is coming here. Why I got the error? Anyone? I have to use ampersand. If you run this program, did you get the output is coming? 21, 29 rows are coming. Yes or no? Now, I give another example to you. Right? Okay. So what example I want to give it here? I want to go for company as Apollo. I want to go for Cipla, and I want to go for Geno, and I want to go for Religare. Is this clear? Gender, I want to go for both female, and I want to go for both male. Is this clear? Now, New South, the state code I want to go for New South Wales, QLD, and I'll go for West Australia. Now, I want to go for percentage late, keep underscore var is equal to, I want to go for getting those variable list. These are the variable list. Is this clear now, guys? Everyone? Huh? Clear now? Okay. How will I call this data set? Ampersand comp, ampersand gen, ampersand ag, ampersand state code. Here, what I'll call this? That's it. What do you think, guys? Will it work? Run this query. Where I got the error? So since it is coming in this way, you just, when you're calling this program, you just call them, what you can call this as, just create a bracket and leave it. Why will give it in a bracket? Because already double quote is given. I got some error here. Oh God, it should not be happening this way. Why it is happening so? Yes, you also have to give it here for this. You also have to give it here for gen. Why will I not put? Now let me run this query and see what is happening. Hmm. We have to use in operator here, right? So that we can get the output, which is going to come like this. Is this clear now, guys? How do we go for using percentage late, right? We use percentage late to create macro variable, and we call these macro variables are global. What do you call these guys here? Are global. Now, why it is called as a global? Because this variables can be called in this program, or it can also call in another program. So it is going to be applicable. These are the macro variables in anywhere you want to call this. We can also use macro variable parameters, right? What are those parameters? One is called positional parameter. Second one is called keyword parameter. Now let's understand how does this work. Here is an example to you. Okay. I write a program data made underscore Apollo set day 5 dot made underscore 2025. Is this clear now, guys? Then I use keep customer underscore ID, company, gender, age, state underscore code, eh, and the final one is what? Spend underscore amount. I give a condition where company is equal to Apollo, and gender is equal to female, and age greater than 50, and state underscore code is equal to NSW. Then I say run the program. Yes or no? I can also run this program for made Cipla by changing this to Cipla, changing this to male, changing this to 40, changing this to QLD. Yes or no? I can also run this program for, let's say, Ranbaxy. I can call this Ranbaxy as my company. This is going to be female. This is going to be 60. This is going to be West Australia. So what is happening? If I run this program, I got my made Apollo dataset having 29 observations. If I go for running this program, I get my output for Cipla, which is 34 observations. If I go for Ranbaxy, I get it here around. Oh, I didn't get any output here. Oh, it is only Ranbaxy, yes. If I run this program, what I see, Ranbaxy output is also coming. Now, this above three programs, what is changing? In this above three programs, dataset name is changing. Variable values are changing for company, gender, age, and state code. Does it make sense? How would you go for? Now let's define the macro variable using parameters. You write a macro name percentage macro mac1. I'll call this first variable name is comp. Second variable name is gen. Third variable name is ag. Right? Fourth variable name is, I just give anything. You can also give the name as the way you want to choice. How will you end the macro? How will you call the macro? What write here in between? The masalas? Yes or no? Is this clear? You write this, you write this. This is the masala. Upper cake, lower cake, and masala, like a burger. What will you change here? Ampersand. Company value will be changing here, which is the same thing you want to call for company name here. Gender, which will be changing here as what? Ampersand gen dot. The age, we want to call this as here what? The state code, which you want to call this as what? Does it make sense? So ultimately, we call this defining macro variable using positional parameter. What is positional parameter? This is the positional parameter. How will you call the macro? Mac1 bracket start, or you just call this here. Now, to call the macro, you have to use company as what? Let's say Cipla, right? Gender as what? Female. Age is going to be 50. State code is going NSW. Is this clear? When I run this program, my macro has been created in the log window. I don't see any error. When I go and call the macro with this name, Mac1, I get my output is coming for Cipla. If I call this same Mac1 using religare female QLD, what is the output is going to come now? Religare. Dataset is created with the name of what? Made religare. If I run this program with the name of Geno for age greater than 4, and this is for NS or NSW. It is for Geno, gender male, age 40, NSW is going to pull. Yes or no? So what do you understand from this? In the positional parameter, we call this as what? The variable name into brackets after the macro name. Yes or no? And we call this with the macro name at the below. Clear now? Now defining macro variable using keyword parameter. What is keyword parameter? Copy everything here. You call this macro name as what? Mac2. You put comp equals to, gender equals to, age equals to, state code equals to. Clear now? Is this clear now? Rest all remains same. Call this Mac2. How do you want to call? Company equals to, gender equals to, age equals to, state code equals to. You can say company equals to Cipla. You can say Jane equals to female. You can say age equals to 50. You can say STCD equals to New South Wales. Does it make sense? Only in the keyword parameter you have to use equal sign after the variables. If you run this program, if you call this program, does it work? It is also working. Now, you can also call this here company is equal to religare, gender is equals to male, age is greater than 60. This is called QLD Queensland. If you run this program, what is the macro name? Mac2. What is the macro name? Run this program. Does it work? It is working. Does it work here for religare? It is working. Can you see this? Now the next question is that can we interchange the variable position, the macro variable's position in the program? What does it mean? It's saying that you call Mac2, you take Apollo, you take female, you take age 50, you take NSW here. But can we interchange keeping this state code first, keeping this gender last? Can we do that? Can we do that? Now let's do this. It is working, right? Now we can say in keyword parameter, we can interchange the macro variables positions. Does it make sense to all of you guys, everyone? Clear now? Next question. Can we interchange the macro variable position in positional parameter? What do you say? What does it mean? It means you call this. Can we call female to here and age to here? Can we do that?
No, we can't.
Do it. Does it work? No. In the log window? No. You can say we cannot interchange the macro variable positions using. Is this clear now? Now the next question, can we use, oh, let me put Q before question so that it can be more interesting. Okay, Q. Can we use both positional and keyword parameter together? Now this is the question. Can we use both positional and keyword parameter together? What does it mean? Now let's go and create another macro. Macro name is Mac3. I call first two as what? Positional. Second two are what? Keyword, right? Now, how will I call this macro now? Percentage macro, sorry, percentage mac3 and bracket start. You will be calling this here, everyone. Yes or no? How it happens? For company, you will write gender, you write age, you write this, you write. Now let's run this query. I run this program. Did I create my mac3 is coming? It is created. I call this here. It is also happening. So the answer is yes. We can call both the parameters in the same program. Yes or no, guys? Everyone, is this clear? Okay. Now, now can we start with keyword parameter? Can we start with keyword parameter? This is a question. What does it mean? You go for creating a macro called for. Can we start with keyword parameter to positional parameter? That is what it's saying. Are you getting it, guys? We will say what? 50 and New South Wales. If you run this program, what is happening? Invalid parameter. Hmm. Now, if you run this program, does it work? What the error is coming? All positional parameters must proceed keyword parameter. That means we cannot call both parameters where starting with keyword to positional. Okay? It must go with positional to keyword parameter. Okay? I hope this is clear now. Next question is going to come. What is the criteria for a macro name? Right? It is as same as dataset name, but I would like to show you through ChatGPT. See, guys, what I'm doing here, I'm just trying to cover up what could be the interview questions. Like the interview questions, it is being discussed here. What it's saying here, start with a letter or underscore, can contain letter, number, and underscore only. It is case sensitive. It is case sensitive, right? So maximum length is 32 character long, cannot be included special character, cannot start with number. It is same as dataset name. Number one, it must be 32 characters long. Second, must start with alphabets or underscore only. Third, must follow with alphabets, numbers, and underscore only. Does it make sense? Right? Next, is SAS macro statement, macro macro statements, macro variable name and values are case sensitive. This is the question. Okay. Now let's do this here. Take this example here. Okay. In this program, I call this to, right? I call this to GN. I call this to city. I call this to small macro. When I call this macro here, I call comp as Apollo female 50 and I call this NSW. Now what do you see here? Macro statement in what? Small. Macro variable name in what? Small. Right? If I call this mac5, run this query, does it show any error? No. I call, let's say mac5 to mac5. What I do here, I call this to small. If I run this program, does it give me the output? It is giving the output. So I confirmed macro statement, macro variable names, and macro name are not case sensitive. Is this clear? But if I write female to all capital FEMALE, what is it happening? Is the macro variable values? If I run this program, does it work? No. So that means macro variable values are case sensitive. Yes or no? Yes or no, guys? Clear now?
Yes,
Now
sir.
tell me, guys, how many ways we learn now to create macro variable? How many ways we learn? In how many ways now? 3 ways. What are those? Percentage let. Second one is what? Positional. And third one is what?
Keyword parameter.
Does it make sense to all of you guys, everyone? Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. And also we understand macro variable names are not case sensitive. Macro variable values are case sensitive. Is this clear now? Chalo, theek hai. We'll talk about macro variable defining percentage global and percentage local. How does it work? So here is an example to you all. Macro variable defining percentage local and percentage global. And how does this work? I write here percentage let comp is equal to Apollo. Is this clear now? When I run the program, when I run this program here, okay. So what is it happening? My data set is created with the name of what? Okay. If I run this program, what is happening guys here? My data set has been created with the name of Apollo only. Yes or no? I define the macro variable as what? Percentage let. Now I create here a macro which is called percentage max6. Percentage macro max6 and percentage MEND macro end. Now what I do here, I use This macro will take a variable here. I want to call this variable using percentage macro, percentage local. I will say the variable name is called comp underscore val. Now, how will I call this? I will say percentage late com val is equal to ampersand comp dot. Is this clear? Right? Now, I write the program here where I call ampersand com val dot. Now, if I say percentage max 6, tell me guys, what is the output will come? What is the output will come? I'm defining percentage local macro variable name is what? It's a local macro variable come val, and percentage late come val value will take from where? Percentage late, yes or no? So ultimately the dataset which is created made ampersand, which is going to create the dataset name as what? Made Apollo only, yes or no? Now what I did here, I run a program outside now. Okay. What I'm calling this, the local macro variable which I created as what? Come val. To here, yes or no? So I call, clear now? What I'm doing here, the macro variable which I created, percentage local, I'm calling this here. If I run this program, what is happening? Does it give me any output? No. What is it happening? Ampersand, this is saying syntax error expecting the following name in a quotation, something like this. What is happening guys here? Any macro variable called local, it is applicable within the local macro. It cannot be called outside the macro. So we can say any macro variable defined through percentage local is a local macro for that macro only. Is this clear? It cannot be called outside the macro. Is this clear to all of you? Now I'll give another example to you. Okay. I'll show you here. This is called max 7 and I'll call max 7 here. I call this global. What I call this here? Global. What is the macro variable name? I call this as global. Is this clear? What I call global, and I will also call here global. I call this here global. I call this here global. Is it clear now? When I define this, before defining this, I call percentage late comp is equal to cipla. Clear now? Is this clear? If I run this program, what is the output is going to come? Cipla. Now, when I say max 7 percentage global company value as global, percentage company value global is going to be ampersand comp, which is cipla value. Then you call in this program. If you run this program, ultimately what output is going to come in? Cipla. Now, this is what? A global macro variable name. I'm calling outside the macro. Over what? This. If I run this program, does it work? It is working. So what we can say? Percentage global macro variable can be called outside the macros. Yes or no? Yes or no? Now interview question. Right? First, question number 1 is percentage late is a percent. So percentage late is a local or global macro variable. This is the question. How to answer? Percentage late outside the macro is called global macro variable. Percentage let inside the macro as percentage local is local. Percentage let inside the macro as percentage global is global. Does it make sense to all of you guys? Right? So we covered 5 ways to define the macro variables. One is percentage let. Second one is positional parameter. Third one is keyword parameter. Fourth one is percentage local. Fifth one is percentage global. Right? ठीक है? Now we still have 3 more ways to define the macro variables. What are those? Using PROC SQL INTO, using percentage do and percentage I, percentage do and percentage end. Just say percentage do, percentage end. Then the third one is call symput. Now let's discuss this one by one. Okay, right? So we have a data set. Now we'll use through, this is called 6, this is called 7, this is called 8. I'll give this example one by one. Using PROC SQL INTO, how will you go for defining the macro variable? I'll show you here. Are you there, guys? Everyone with me? Right. If I write PROC SQL select distinct company from day 5 dot made underscore 2025 and I say quit. If I run this program, what is happening? What is happening, guys, here? I see distinct company name. To store all these distinct company name as macro variable. To show these all distinct company names as what? Macro variable. How do you do this? You can write this here, PROC SQL INTO distinct company. I can say INTO, right? I'll use the clause called INTO comp1 hyphen again colon comp9. Because how many company names are there? 9 companies. If you run this program, what the count is coming? 9. Yes or no, guys? If you write number, how many unique company names are coming? Tell me. 9. So I call this as what? PROC SQL select distinct company 1 to 9. Once you run this program, what is happening here? These comp1 to comp9, 5 or 9 macro variables. How will you check this? You will write percentage put ampersand comp1 dot. Tell me, guys, what is the first company name? What is the second company name? What is the last company name? What is the last to last company name? And max. If I say percentage put company 2, 8 and say 9, what is the output is going to come in? In the log window, it says that company 1 value is what? Company 2 value is what? Company 3, company 8 value is what? Company 9 value is what? Right? These are all global macro variables. You might be saying, so why it is called global macro variables? Yes or no? I would be calling made. Can you see this? Yes or no? I would be calling company 9 and company 9 dot. Tell me, this will create which data set? What is the data set name if I run this program? What is the data set name if I run this program? Made relige? Run this. Does it create made Apollo and made relige? Yes or no? Did you see, guys? How we use proc SQL into what? Creating macro variables. Now let's create 7 state code name as macro variables. 7 state code name. How will you go for doing this? Proc SQL. Select distinct state underscore code into stcd1 hyphen colon stcd7 from day 5 dot made underscore 2025, and you say wait, if you run this program, what is happening? What is the first state code name? What is the last state code name? WA. How would you print them? Ampersand 1 percentage put ampersand. If you run this query in the log window, what is happening? ACT and West Australia. Is this clear to all of you guys? Everyone? Clear? Clear now? Right. Let's create 9 company datasets and 7 states datasets. How do you go for doing this? We'll write like this: data made ampersand comp1 dot. Then you will go for writing the program, right? Then you write what? Where company is equal to ampersand comp1 dot. Like that, will you write the program for multiple times? Right? Will you write the program for multiple times? Don't you think it's a very hard work? Yes or no? I can go on changing it one by one, but I want to create all the data set. There, to create this in an automated way, we will use percentage do and percentage n, right? So how to go for doing this example? How many company variables you have? 9. How many state code variables you have? Everyone, those are
7.
online. Are you able to hear me, guys? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Right, right. Now let's create 9 company individual data sets. Okay. What I will write here? Normal programming. I will write percentage macro all underscore data sets. How would you end the macro? Percentage
Meant.
MEND. Okay. How do you write the program? How will you write the program? You write percentage do I is equal to 1. Then percentage 2 is equal to percentage 2 is going to be 9. Then you will write what? Percentage n. In between, you will write what? Proc SQL. What is that? Proc SQL, and write what? Quit. Yes or no? Then you write create table made underscore ampersand comp ampersand I dot. Is this clear now, guys? Are you getting my question? What I'm writing here? Ampersand comp ampersand I dot. ठीक है? आज select star from which table? Day 5 dot made underscore 2025, where company is equal to what we'll call right here You write what? Ampersand comp1 dot, yes or no? For 1, what I'm using here, ampersand I, because the loop will run for what? 1 to 9. This is the macro variable I. And since you're calling two macro variables, what do you write here? Double ampersand. Does it make sense to all of you guys, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Clear now? You know what will happen if I run this program? It will create made Apollo, made Cipla, made Geno, made Religare. All 9 datasets are going to create. Now let's run this program. How do you call the macro name? Percentage all datasets. Yes. Oh, I'm by mistakenly. Understood now? So this is the macro name as what? I. Percentage do I. I is a macro name, variable name, which is going to have a value of what? Looping value, 1 to 9. Run this program. I got this. No error. If I run this program here, what I see, I quickly created all 9 datasets are coming, guys. Apollo is coming. Cipla is coming. Dr. Reddy's is coming. Geno is coming. And Guardian is coming. Ranbaxy is coming. Religare is also coming. You can see all these 9 datasets have been created into your work library like a brother. Made Apollo, Cipla, Dr. Reddy's, Guardian. These all datasets have been created. Yes or no? Yes or no? I do it one more time. First of all, I write PROC datasets library is equal to work, and I'll say kill. Why I'm doing this? It is killed. Remove this. Run this program. So what will happen? You have to go for creating your variables one more time. You have to create your variables one more time. Now I can run this program. Macro is created. Run this. I got all the datasets names are created, but there is an error. Why the error came? Acha. It's saying made, if you look for the output here, if you look for the output, if you look for the output, it's saying made plus. Can it be? It's a special character. Can it be a dataset name with this? That's where it is throwing an error. That's where it's throwing an error while you run this program. But it is all fine, no issues. If you run this program, what is happening? Rest all datasets created apart from made Apollo, made plus. Rest all 8 datasets have been created. Now you have to go to the data. Go to the data. Where is the file? Here is the file, right? Go to the data. What will do here? Control C, Control H. Wherever you find this, you call this as what? Made underscore plus. Replace. Now save the file. Go back to the SAS. Go to this dev 5. Again, upload the same file here. Done. Go back to the code. Wherever you are reading this file, where you are reading this file, this is the file. Yes or no? Which is changing? No, not this file. Where are you reading the file, guys? Somewhere, yeah, this is the file. You got it here. Now you run the program, it will all fine. See, this is made underscore plus. Now, if you run this program, it's saying the state code name. If you go back to here, you get all the states name is coming. Made Apollo, Cipla, Reddy's, Geno, and you can see all individual datasets have been created to my work library. Yes or no? Yes or no, guys? Right. Same way, how to go for creating 7 state code dataset. What is the state code you have created here? STCD1. So in the same program, how do you go for doing this? All datasets 1 to 7. Made what light here? STCD only. What will change here? And what will change the variable name? Right? Are you getting this? That's it. Now, if you run this program, what it will do for you? The macro is created. If you run this, it'll create a was 7 datasets name. Made ACT, made New South Wales, made Northern Territory of Australia, made QLD Queensland, South Australia, Victoria, and West Australia. This is how you created how many datasets? 7. Did you understand? Clear now? Now, I have a test for you. Ready for the test? Right? Now, the test is like this, where I want to use your thought process. Right? So let me see anything that I'm missing that I covered for the previous batch, not your batch. Okay, no problem, guys. So let's say I want to create, I want to export all these datasets from 9 companies to 9 tabs of export in an Excel file, in the Excel file or in an Excel file. So did you understand what I'm trying to do here? I want to export this data to what? One Excel file, 9 tabs. Clear now? Right. So what is the macro variable name I have? Comp1. So how would I go for exporting it? Proc export. Then what I write here? Data is equal to what? Let's say dataset name is made underscore Apollo. Yes or no? Then I write what? Is equal to, what will I go and choose it here? In this, I'll go for output folder property. Everyone, yes or no? The file name is made underscore all underscore exp export dot xlsx. I give the file extension. Is this clear now, guys? Right. Then I write what? dbms is equal to xlsx replace. Sheet is going to be Apollo. Then I write what? Run. If I want to go for made Cipla, made Geno, I have to write the program for how many times? I write what? Cipla. I'll be changing it to Cipla. Sheet name is going to change. I don't want to write this code multiple times. What I write here? I write percentage macro export underscore all. What is the macro name? Then I write what? Percentage MEND. Then I write what? Percentage do I is equal to 1, percentage to 9. What I write here? Percentage end. Yes or no? Is this clear? What I write here? Ampersand, ampersand, comp, ampersand, I dot. Yes or no? Same thing would be here as your macro variable name. I don't want to call this anymore. I'll just say percentage export all. If I run this query, does it work? Oh, it is working. Run this query. Does it work? Oh, it is working. It is worked. If I go back to the final file, if I right click and I say download my file, what I see, guys, here? My file has been exported with the name of made underscore all underscore exp. Do you see, guys? This file is having 9 different tabs has been exported. Everyone. Hmm? Did you see how we can save time? Same thing if I want to export 7 state codes file. How will I go for doing this? What I write here? I write stcd. I'll change it to what? Because in my work library, I have given made ACT, made New South Wales, made New Northern Territory, Australia, and this is Queensland. Like that, states are there. Now, if I run this program with call, huh,
That's be 1 to 7.
7, and I want to call this made all, yes or no? If I run this program, what is happening out here, guys? It is happened so you can see in your output folder, you got this file. If you download this file, what you see here, guys, you can see this is coming with what? 7 state separate data sets. How nicely we can do it. Yes, no? Chalo. I can give multiple examples. I'm not intentionally giving you today. The reason why, because I don't want to get you confused. Is this clear now? Now, the last variable which we'll be covering now, which is use of what? Is this clear to all of you guys, everyone? Huh? Do one or two projects, your interview is all fixed. No need to worry. Okay, so guys, what is the use of call input? Now let's do this example in a very practical way to see where we are going to use this calls input. Ready? So let me do something for you guys here. I'll use data x, y, g. Okay. Current date. What I like the function name? Bracket start close. Then I have to use what? Format. Current date as what? Date 9 dot. If you run this program, what is happening guys here? XYG. Which date is going to bring now? Which date is going to bring? 3rd November 2025, which is today's date. I want to call this to my date value, my macro variable, data underscore null underscore. What does that mean? If I create XYZ, I'm creating a data set. It goes to work library. If I use data underscore null underscore, it's not creating any data set for me, but it is going to use the purpose for what I'm using. I use calls input. I use for calls input to define the macro variable as a function. Calls input is called as a function. It says take a macro variable name. My macro variable name, I want to call this as YYYYMM. And how this macro variable is going to create? You will be using put function to convert your date value, right? Into which format? You're going to format, you can create this as for mmddyy10 dot format. Is this clear now? I will say run. So, or you can call this as, let it be happen. You can call date 9 dot, doesn't matter. Now, if you write percentage put ampersand, what is the macro variable name? Now run this query. See what is happening. What is the output is taking here? 3rd November. Yes or no? Now let me go for creating a data set. Data, student, details. Input, student name, character, and course, character. And I put it here, date of inquiry. Okay. I write date of inquiry. Okay. I use cards. I put Ravi as John for APIDS. And date of inquiry I have not added here. First of all, I just create like this. Then Kiran has opted for APIDA. Then Komal has opted for APIDS. So ultimately, in my data set, what is the data set name? What is the output is coming? Are you getting this? Now here, I create date of inquiry is equal to, I use ampersand YYYMM dot. If I run this query, what is happening here? Does it come with the field name? Where is the error is coming? It's not reading this, right? Why it is happening so? Because it is a macro variable. So what you can do here, let's create this data set. Let's create this data set first. Okay. Now, data set as this. Date of inquiry is going to be this. What is happened here? If I run this program, what is happening guys here? What is it saying here? It is not reading the value properly because of, right. So you can say here, this is going to be this and D. Then you can say format data inquiry into date 9 dot. Let's see if it is working. I hope it should be working. Does it work now? Which is the date value is coming? Right. Now let me show something here. Date of inquiry, which is given as in format date of inquiry as mmdd, or let's say date 9 dot, and format date of inquiry is given as date 9 dot. I'll put some values here. What is it coming here? Let's say this is 01 03 2025. Now these two students have done the inquiry on which date? Okay, just a minute. Which format is coming guys here? Okay, okay, TDMMY format I want to give it here. Let's say this guy is done. Today is what? 03, right? 03 11 2025. 03 11 2025. Now let's say this is given as mmddyy 10 dot, and this is given as mmddyy 10 dot format. Now if I run this program, what is the output is coming guys here? Is coming this. Now I want to pull data from this data set where I'm saying where date of inquiry is equal to ampersand yyym dot. Are you getting this? Right? So will it give me the right output? Check it here. Is it giving the right output? No. Why it is happening so? Because while you define this, you have taken this as what? You have to make this as what? 10 dot. Now if you run this program, what is the date value is going to come in? 11.3. It is coming in which format? DDMMYY format. So you would be giving this as what? MMDDYY. You want to make this as what? DD. Now run this program. Does it work now? Now already the macro variable value's name is what? If you are giving this condition, how do you give this condition here? Will it work? No, something going wrong. Where is MMDDYY? It is DDMMYY already we have written in the dataset now. So when run this program, what is happening? When you run this dataset, what is happening? DDMMYY, right? Now while you are giving this condition that you want to go for creating, let's say version 1 dataset from this original dataset by giving date of inquiry is equal to this. See what is happening. Why I'm getting error? I don't think in format it is this MMDDYY, na? Then we have written format as DDMMYY. No, so what I'm saying here, my data set is created. I want to go for filtering the data, right? What is the filtering I'm going to give you on 11 November? Now this is where I'm getting error, but this is not reading this. It's not throwing any error to me, but saying no observation found. What does that mean? Because the date value cannot be going in what? Okay, I will ask not getting output from this code. Correct this. Okay, no problem. Now let's copy this, run it here. What is it happening guys here? It's saying calls input YYYMMDD taking from today's date into date9 format. That is all fine. Now the macro variable has been created where you can see it is taking as what? 03 November 2025, right? Right. Now, how do you want to call this? You create the data set where you're taking in format as MMDDYY, format as date9 format. Okay, perfect. Now you want to go for why 11th March? Achha, it is reading this. Let's say 03. Today is 03, right? 11 and 11. Okay. Okay. Now let me run this query. What is happening, guys? It is coming as 3rd November 2025. When I'm going to give this query saying that data student details version 1 set student details where date of inquiry is equal to this date format should be going with what? D as a format. If you run the program, ultimately it is going to pull the data for what? Only 3rd November data. Okay. I want to give one more example from this. So guys, this is the program which we wrote it. I'll just go for removing for your understanding. Okay. Okay. I'll give one more example where calls input uses. Let's create an Excel file here. Okay. I go for adding the mobile number. I put the mobile number which is 89511089996. This is the mobile number. I want one more digit to this. Okay. So I have around these many mobile numbers are given. Can you see this? Right. This mobile usage date is given here, which is a date function. Year is random between 2024 and 2025. And month I want to give random between 1 to 12 months. Days I want to give it random between 1 to 28 days. Okay, bracket close. So now I have this data. Can you see this? Which is given from 2025, let's say 2026, doesn't matter. I have taken this data from 2024 to 2026. It's a random data. I go for looking at MOU and data. MOU, which is random between 100 minutes to 2000 minutes. Then I go for selecting here the data usage, which is random between 10,000 to 50,000 in MBs. Is this clear now? So when I say MBs, I have to divide by what? 1000. So these are the GBs. Now this is what the data I have. Control C, paste spatial values. Okay. I save this file into my folder. It's an interesting project, guys, called mobile usage. Now I have this data. Okay. What I want to do here, first of all, going to SAS, going to Dev 5 raw data, I upload the file here. I call this file name as mobile underscore usage. Okay. Now I'll tell you guys what I'm doing in this data. Control C, paste spatial values. Now this is the data I have it. Clear now? I take this data, go to another sheet, I do summary analysis. What the summary analysis? I get usage year month. How do you get the usage year month? Year function of what? This multiplied by month function of what? Does it make sense? Clear now? Now, ultimately, what I want to do here, I want to create a summary analysis. from this table where I want to go to pull data for my usage, year, month, count of mobiles, and what is their total voice usage and total data usage. Now the filter which I want to give it on my usage date. What the usage date I want to give it here? I want to go for creating this usage date where I want to go by selecting current year month to 6 months back, 12 months back, right? So how will I go for doing this here? If I want to go for converting this to a date value, better I can go for creating as a slicer. Now this is all coming by what? Date wise. What is current date? Sorry, 3rd November, right? So to get this date value, let me go for getting this year and month also. So year is going to what? Um, year function of your usage date. Now I'll say text of what? Month with MMM. Then I'll go for day, which is going to be day function of this. Okay. Now let me remove this all first. Now somebody wants to see 6 months how the usage for this customer accounts 6 months back. So how do you go for current date to 6 months back in Excel? What will you do, guys, here? You want to go for current month, but current date to 6 months back. What is the current date? 3rd November. 6 months back means what? November, October, September, August, July, June. Then we'll go for May. 3rd May. Yes or no? So how do you go for giving this selection here? So you want to get this data within 2 dates value. How do you go for doing this? Let's say you put it here as usage. No. ठीक है. Usage, year, month, get this mobile as a count, get their total MOU, and get their total data usage. This is going to be as a count. Okay. Now make this data tabular, fill this all item labels. Now when you go for selecting the year, which is going to be 2025, from which month to which month will go for? May to November. Yes or no? Right? From which date? We'll go for all the dates here. Example, right? So ultimately, your data is coming um, for how many these many mobiles. So this is what your total sum of 846, and this is all coming. Correct. Now this is what the output business wants to see. 6 months back, 12 months back, 24 months back. Summary analysis from the data. So how would you go for doing that using your SAS environment? What do you do here? Let's take business example. For business example, first you go for options, valid, var name as V7. You like what? PROC import out day 5 dot mobile underscore usage, right? Then you'll go for data file is equal to the file path. DVMS is equal to, right? Then you will say run the program here. You have this data. First of all, what we want to achieve? Current date to 6 months back data, right? So for getting current month to 6 months back data, what functions, what we'll do here? We'll write data underscore null underscore. You write call symput to define what? Your current date. How do you go for define the current date? Bracket start. You call this YYYMMCD. What is that format? What is the macro variable name, guys? YYY cd means current date, year month format. Then you will write what? The function name is put, converting character to numeric. Date as today's date function, and the format which you want to give it, yymmn6 dot. Do this way, close the bracket and say run. What is the macro variable name? Percentage put. What is that? Ampersand. If you run this program, what is it giving you here? The current year month is what? 2025? 11. From current month to I want to go back for what? 6 months, right? So how to go for 6 months back? I create another variable call symput. What I'll do the macro variable name? Yy. Call this month back 6 MBA 6. Right? Then what I'll write here? Month back 6 put. In the put here, what condition I want to give here? I want to write int nx is a function. What do you want to see here? The month. How many months back to date as minus 6 with significance of what? S means same date. Are you getting this, guys? Are you getting this? Then which format you want to call them here? The data format is going to be yymmn6 dot. Is this clear? Now, if you call this to this variable, what is it going to print out of this? It is 2025 May. Yes or no? If I say I want to go for 12 months back, how will I go for doing this? Month back, 12. This is going to be. If I say 24 months back or 18 months back, how will I go for doing this? 18, and this is by 18. So ultimately, I will have to print this for 12 and print this for 18. Does it make sense to all of you guys, everyone? 11, 5. This is how many months back? 12 months back, 18 months back. Now, how will I go for taking this data to summarize the output? First of all, data, I write what? This data set this data set. I write uses year month. How to get this? From this table which you got it here. The table is having what output, guys? After importing, you got the table, right? Where is the table? In this data set. Yes. Uses, mobile uses. What is it? What is this table column name? Uses date. So now you would be doing what? Year function of uses underscore date multiplied 100 plus month function of usage date. Now if you run this program, what is happening? Did you see usage month is created? Right. Now when you want to summarize the data, how to write the summarize data? PROC SQL create table usage underscore summary. Aj select what light here? Usage year month, comma, count of mobile. As subscribers, sum of MOU. As total underscore voice. Sum of data, right? As total data in GBs, right? From which is the table name? Right. You write here where. What condition will give it to put a condition here where your usage year month between what? Between okay. So you can write here proc print data is equal to dataset name. This is going to between what, guys? 6 months, right? Okay. It should be writing this way or the other way. Does it give you the output here? What is the output is coming? 2025. Now let's see this output here. PROC SQL select distinct usage month from and quit. Let's see. Does it give me the output for how many months? 2025 to 11. If I say I want to see the result, don't show my mobile. That's why it is coming. Okay, okay. Now, if I want to see the result for last 12 months, how will I go for doing this? From this date to this date. If I run this program, does it give me the summary output for last 12 months? Yes or no? If I say I want to go for last 18 months, how will I go for last 18 months? Right? 18. Run this program. Does it work? The output is coming for last 18 months. Yes or no? So normally we use call symput for creating macro variables where we define the date value to pull data from the month back calculation. Is this clear? Most of this organization, I can show you, right? Create a macro where pulling the transaction data from the current date to 6 months back to the same date. So it is giving a macro program to you in SAS now, right? So let me copy and paste this code. Okay, this is the code. Can you tell me what is the macro name? Last 6 months.
6 months.
What are the macro parameters?
Yes,
It's a
and
key.
date.
It's a keyword or positional parameter. Keyword parameter. One is DS. One is date variable. Data underscore null underscore where you are going to define calls input current date as what? Today's date. Yes or no? You go for calls input back date as what? INTNX of this current date minus 6 as same. Yes or no? So how many macro variables now you have? By this line, how many macro variables you have, guys? 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, how to print this macro variable to check? You can put it this way. Percentage put current date is equal to what? This. Back date is equal to what? This. Yes or no? Just run this program. See what is happening. What is giving here? The current date is 2024. It is in format value. It is in format value. If you go for the format, then you have to give a format to be presented. Yes or no? Right. Now, what you're doing here, data last 6 months from set, the data set name, whichever you have, where the date variable between the back date to the current date. That is how you're pulling for last 6 months and printing the output here. Is this clear? Is it difficult, guys? Everyone? It is difficult, no, right? And how to call the macro? Percentage. Okay. What data set name you'll give it here? Mobile. We have data set name as what? Day 5 dot mobile usage. What the usage date variable name? Usage underscore date. Is this clear? Guys, is this clear now?
Yes, sir.
Shall we run this program and see what is happening? Does it really give me the output? What the dataset name? Dataset name is what? It goes to which library?
Work library.
Okay. Now, if I run this program, will it give me the output the way I'm looking at? Where I got the error? Oh, does it give me the output here, guys? Yes or no? Last 600 days coming. Clear now, right? Okay. Call input macro variable. It is global or local? It is called outside this program, right? It is global. Look at the log window. What does it say here? It says the current date is what? In format value. This is the, so now you just simply go for giving this. So how to get this to a proper date value? You have to write the program this way. You have to give a format to this. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Is this clear now? Right. So did you understand how SAS macro is working? Now we have completed to define macro variables. We can use number one, percentage let, number two, positional parameter, number three, keyword parameter, number four, percentage global, number five, percentage local, number six, PROC SQL into clause, number seven, percentage do and percentage end. Then number eight, what is the last one?
Input.
Call input. Is this clear now? We will learn more part of macro in the next class, how to go for debug macro, how to go for. So we will be doing a real-time example. The projects are there. The two projects we'll do hands-on, but at this time we are going to end this here. Is this clear?